Okay, this is part of my developing review of the Panasonic GH4 with the 7-14mm lens. Today I used it entirely for work. I got a little flash for it and I used it for all my property work today. And there's a couple of good things, a couple of bad things, and some things I really like, some things I don't like, and some things which I think are a little bit wrong. And I'll go into that one first. One of the things, okay, so this is the thing which I absolutely love about it, but I also think is wrong, is this screen. Now, can I show you? If we look at this screen here, it's got this a great ability to be able to show you what is up and down and what's left and right, or what's correctly angled. So whenever it's on the green line like it is there, that's it, you know, it's not rotated in any way. And there's also an up and down pitch meter as well, which tells you as well, which is absolutely fantastic for a lot of the shots in properties. I may be in like this and I'm going, I can't quite see where I need to be at, and then I can just angle it here and go green, 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 take a photo, and it does. And it's really good just having that, because there are some cases where you are in tight spaces and you can't be right above or you can't be right below or anything like that, and having this ability to see what is definitely what you're shooting is quite good. But what I think is that I don't think it's always right. I'm going to have to do a little bit more research into this, but let's just, some of the photos that I shot today, just shooting some unfurnished properties today, but definitely while I was setting up, first of all, I would say the difference between the RAW and the JPEG is astonishingly little. The files that you're getting coming out of the camera, I think, just look great straight away. So that's the RAW. Let's see another one. Here's a JPEG. Here's RAW. There's almost no difference to them whatsoever. So yeah, in fact, I probably like the JPEG at the camera itself. But here, see, this is where it was telling me that it was straight, but it's not. Now, the difficulty is, in some houses that I'll be shooting, the whole house will be at a little bit of an angle. Some doors will be at a little bit of an angle. Some walls will be at a little bit of an angle. So a lot of the shooting which I do is not necessarily correct, because correct may look wrong. You correct it for the shape of that room. So there, I think that one's a little bit closer to being straight up and down. If I were to put the straightening thing here, so there is a curve to the image that we're getting at the Panasonic 7-14mm lens, but it's not really that noticeable, and it's also a lot less than what you get with the Canon 16-35mm lens. In another room, let's see, when I first went in here, also the flash I'm using just now is non-TTL, so I haven't just played around with the manual, which just means I'm having to do quite a few photos each time. But here again, definitely, it's a difficult one, because it could just be that these walls are all at slightly different angles and not straight up and down, because that's what it was telling me was definitely that is level and that's you're not pointing up and down. Yet you see this door, it kind of looks like it's at a little bit of an angle. But otherwise, for a lot of these shots, so once I started using the flash in here, I'm trying to see, do I get any extra benefit out of the raw image? Because again, I'll just be exporting these down to like a 4 megapixel image for people to put up onto their websites. From here to there, the JPEG is looking pretty damn good. Yeah, granted, if I got the white balance wrong or something like that, but otherwise, I would say I'm pretty darn happy with that. What was the, so yeah, as shot, yeah, pretty much as shot, 5,900 Kelvin. Pretty much bang on. Let's see, there's this kitchen, a little bit too bright there, I think. The JPEG is actually probably recovered more of the shot here, but let's see if I just bring some of the information back in, the shadows and the exposure down, highlights down. Let's do a white picker on there. Maybe that's a little bit too blue. And to my eyes, I'm thinking there is a little bit of a tilt there, but again, is that just because I'm sitting on a funny ball? No, okay, there is definitely some rotation required in that shot to make it more straight. And then I need to level it as well. So about there, I would say that's looking a lot better. But yeah, just a lot of good detail we're getting out of the of the RAW files and the JPEGs. Just, I would say that if you are an estate agent and you're going, we need a camera to take brilliant photos, and you don't want to employ a photographer who knows what he's doing, buying this £1,000 camera, the £600 lens, a 50 quid flash. Actually, no, I'd probably say go for a TTL flash, which is, you're going around about £200 on this. You're gonna get some pretty healthy shots there. However, you will also need to do the editing and the processing to make sure that they work on all your websites. So that's again where maybe just employing a photographer would be a lot easier. But in terms of the actual gear, it's coming out pretty darn good, and it's sharpness wise as well. This was 125th of a second. Seems like quite a lot of sharpening going on there. Comparing that to the RAW looks a little bit better outside. Okay, so the other thing I was really happy about was just the size and weight of it. It's so light. It really felt like, this feels a little bit like, so easy to maneuver and carry around and move about. However, the downside though is this is an ego thing though, purely an ego thing, is when taking it out at a client's house and the clients were there, I did kind of feel like, I've got a little camera. So, yeah. So, not that I'm saying that a bigger camera makes you a better photographer, but having a little camera does potentially make some clients go, well, I've got that kind of camera. Like, yeah, it's not about the camera, it's about how well you use it. And us as photographers, we understand that. We don't care what size of camera we've got, but clients sometimes will be a bit stuffy-nosed about it. So yeah, something. But in terms of actual size and shape and grip, you know, as I was talking about in one of my previous videos about how you can finger your camera, this can be fingered very well. This is a good fingering camera. I was saying at the moment that using the TTL isn't. Well, I don't have TTL in the flash. It's got a very cheap flash. But again, yeah, it's definitely. It's not. What it's telling me to be level isn't exactly level. But okay, that was some of the photos from today. Let's see, the exposure was having to get pretty high later on. I also very much like the in-camera RAW editing feature. So that's the RAW that I had in the camera. While I was in the car, did a quick couple of edits to it, and I get it to this brighter, softer contrast, better white balance in the car. It's like, boom, that's pretty good. I like that, how, you know, if you're on a plane waiting for something to happen, you could just be on your camera doing the editing straight in camera as well, which I thought was quite handy. There's another feature which I found where you've got a zoom in video, which is just awesome. So let's say that's 1080p, that's 4K. 4K uses a little bit inner. You've got a telephoto shot, so it zooms in a little bit there, so that just must be using the center bit. And then further on, you've got a digital zoom, which means you've got that. So from there, all the way to the original shot, which is that in a photo, that's a serious amount of play that you've got with just one lens. Okay, the image quality is absolute gash. I'm not talking about that, but just good to know. Good to know. Let's see some of the other shots from today. Vignetting on this lens, there is some there, and I would definitely say that the JPEG version takes a tiny amount of it away, but otherwise the JPEG wins here. Yeah. And the annoying thing is, because Panasonic effectively half cooks the RAW file. So in other words, the RAW file has some of the lens distortion already removed and possibly vignetting and all that. There isn't a profile for it. So if I were to go into profile, blah 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 blah, there is no Panasonic to use as a for you to like take away vignetting or barrel distortion or anything like that. Let's see, profile. So we've got loads here, but none of them are Panasonic, unfortunately. So it'd have to be the case of going into manual and doing that, and then that gets it. So yeah, plus 42 vignetting on this lens. But otherwise, damn, pretty happy with it. So yeah, so in actual terms of shooting, I would say what I would also say is the amount of menus and stuff in this already is meaning that it's taking me probably an extra 10, 15, maximum 20% longer to shoot, to capture, to adjust, to change the exposure, to change the white balance. In certainly some of the photos with the flash, I'm having to maybe do 2, 3 photos until I get the right exposure, just because I'm not using a TTL flash. So what I would say is, yeah, it's giving me maybe 15 to 20% more time having to fiddle around with settings, but at the same time, it's giving me about 300% more settings to set. So you've got this trade-off where you've got so many more options to fiddle around and alter. That's why going through the menu, sometimes like, I just want to change the white balance. Oh wait, I've got to press this, then that, 3 buttons, instead of just going white balance, scroll. And we're talking about seconds here, but whenever you're doing 3 photos per room, 5 rooms, 5 houses, that comes up to like an extra 20 minutes of you actually shooting rather than just capturing and then going to your next shoot. So it's all minute things. At the moment, it may just be the case that I'm doing it because I'm still getting used to the camera. So I'll finish this full-on report later on once I'm fluent. I think that's what you have to be fluent with your camera before you can give a final review. But so far, I would say doing very well, doing very, very well. Okay, hope that helps. Bye-bye.